All right, guys, I think this will be an interesting one. So I had mentioned before the last episode that I was going to talk about the 4 pillars of a CrossFit gym, and I'm going to get to that. But as I was thinking about it, I thought this one would provide a little more context once I get to that. And so I'm going to cover this first. And what this is going to be called is the 10 pitfalls of a CrossFit community. Over the years, 10 things that I have noticed that can have an adverse effect on the culture, on the environment, on the community at a CrossFit gym. And as I go into this, I know I'm going to end up going on several tangents. So this is going to be a 2-parter. I'm going to cover the first 5 in this episode and get into the next 5 next time, because I think this will take a little time to do properly and I don't want it to be too long. And as I get into this, guys, let me start this by saying we are all guilty. So I don't want to use this as an opportunity to think like, as you're listening, oh, I know who does that and I know who does that. Use this as a time to reflect. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. So what I mean is we all will have a tendency to do a lot of these, including myself. And what I want you to use this for is take ownership for the ones you have a tendency for. And the biggest difference you can make towards preventing this happen is not pointing your fingers at the others who may do this. It is making sure you handle the ones that you might have a tendency to do yourself. And we all do. And it's going to happen. It's not ruining the CrossFit gym, but the more we can minimize it, the better off we are. And the first one is about me. So the first one is an owner that is trying to maximize profits at the expense of the experience at the gym. So guys, you guys know this is how Janelle and I make our living. This is how we pay our mortgage. If I don't make money, the doors will close. At the same time, frankly, my goal is not to get rich. Janelle and I love our life. I want to do this for the rest of my life, if at all possible. That is my goal. And so my goal with the gym is to provide you with the best experience I can, is to make King William District CrossFit Metfix Southtown the best gym I can make it. And that is how I make my decisions. And I think you guys can tell that, and that you guys aren't dumb and people aren't dumb. And if a owner has a different goal, if he is trying to maximize profits, you guys are going to figure that out eventually. It may take a while to figure that out, but you're going to be able to read between the lines. And as soon as that's obvious and you know that, suddenly we're not on the same side of the table. If my goal is to make the gym the best experience possible, I don't think any of you guys begrudge paying an honest wage for us to provide you with the service. And my goal has never been to be the cheapest gym, but it is to be the best gym. And I am not a salesman, but I have no problem charging what we charge because I know it's worth it. I know you're getting your money's worth, and I'm doing everything I can to give you your money's worth with our community. And so I say that with the fact that when I think owners are too concerned with marketing and having an image over substance, eventually you're going to see that, yeah, they make things look really cool, but that's not where the money goes, and that's not where their efforts go. And so we're now on opposite ends of the table, and it becomes very much a business arrangement. And while you may or may not leave that gym, the loyalty will decrease, the trust will decrease, and I think it has a very adverse effect on the overall trust and honesty in that community, because you know the owner is not being completely honest with you. Maybe you don't begrudge him. Yeah, I get what he's doing. We're all trying to make money. But I can do that in an honest way, and you can see where my time and efforts and dollars are spent, and you'll be able to tell. And I think you guys know that. And while you may not agree with every decision I make, I think you do trust my intentions, and that leads to an honest relationship. One way I'm thinking of this because we just did Saman today, a hero WOD, and how marketing can have an effect on things and be a little misleading with marketing. Murph is coming up. Murph is probably the most famous CrossFit workout there is. And I think it's a great workout. I get a little annoyed sometimes because I think for tourists to CrossFit, the people who do one CrossFit workout a year, they think Murph is CrossFit. And look at the workout we did today. Saman, 8 rounds, 13 deadlifts, 17 wall balls, 400-meter run. I would argue that Saman is just as good and just as hard and maybe a better workout because of a lot of little things. The counting, the form, the quality of the reps. It is... I would just argue that Saman is every bit as good, if not better, and more a representation of what CrossFit is I don't think Murph is a misrepresentation, but I think it's a little bit of an outlier. And it just bothers me a little bit sometimes that that's viewed as the end all be all, when I just think it's another CrossFit workout. We have a bunch of good workouts. Saman being just as good, but it's not as well known because the marketing around it hasn't been as good. Saman was never in a movie like Murph was. There's a lot of factors for that. And that's what I think about a CrossFit gym, is sometimes it can look really good from the outside, but that's not what's being done in the actual box. And my best marketing, and I think you guys can tell this by my actions, is if I have satisfied, happy members, you guys are going to talk about your experience, you're going to talk about your gym, and that's going to be the best form of marketing I can do. So that's the first one. Second one, members who think they or what they are doing is more important than someone else or what someone else is doing. Guys, what are we doing in a CrossFit gym? We are all exercising. That's what we're doing. We're all exercising, and we may be doing different forms of exercise, but we are all working to stay more fit. And some people are just naturally physically more gifted, and they can walk into a CrossFit gym and do handstand walking and do 20 bar muscle ups or do handstand push-ups. And that's cool. And I want to be able to do that stuff too. I can't handstand walk. But what is impressive to me, consistency, effort, good form, those are the things I find impressive. And there's no shortcut to those. And what I find impressive is not the person that walks in because they're very physically gifted, they can handstand walk across the gym. It's the mom that comes in and gives maximum effort and is laying on the floor exhausted at the end of the workout. And she's going to get up and go home, and her kids don't care. They want dinner, and she's still got work to do. That's what I find impressive. And there's no shortcut to that. But sometimes the people that naturally have those gifts, suddenly it's like, well, you go work out in the corner because I need this space to do my cool stuff. We all share the space in the gym. We all have equal rights to it. And you guys are very good. I think we do a very good job of this at King William District CrossFit, of sharing the space equally and making room for each other. And that's just what I want to do, because I have seen where suddenly, because what I'm doing looks a little more impressive, that takes precedence over what you're doing. I have a very short tolerance for that. The coaches know it. And so I think if you're the type that's expecting me or the coaches or all of us to be impressed with what you're doing that way, you're not going to find us to be a comfortable environment for you. And so I think those kind of people naturally weed themselves out, because we've built a big enough and a strong enough community that that's just not something that's going to work if that's how you're feeling about stuff. And those people will naturally go somewhere else where they're more comfortable with the fact that what I'm doing is cooler than what you're doing. We celebrate each other's success. We all do. And what we celebrate is the fact that you've been coming 4, 5, 6 days a week for months on end. And whether it's your first pull-up or your first handstand push-up, your first 200-pound deadlift or your first 500-pound deadlift, all of those are of equal importance. All right, guys, this will be a juicy one. Owners or coaches who are sleeping with the members. All right, guys. So I will speak as a male owner of a CrossFit gym. We're naturally in a position of authority. We're naturally in a position where people will trust us and listen to what we say. And unfortunately, I have seen owners use that to make a few more notches on the bedpost, to use that to satisfy their somewhat lustful desires. And you know, at a CrossFit gym, we've got a lot of fit people that look really good in workout clothes. And listen, I want you to meet, I love it when you meet your future significant other at the gym. I will get into this more in the second episode, but that's how I met Janelle. We were both trainers at Lifetime Fitness. I really liked how she looked in workout clothes. And when I got the chance, and we were both single, I asked her out with the full intention of, one, getting her out of those workout clothes. That was one of my intentions. But two, there was substance to Janelle. I thought she was a very high quality as an individual, and I was totally right on that. And here we are, 15 plus years later from that time, and I want to get her out of her workout clothes just as much now. But I'll say what I'll say about that is, if you're an owner or a coach in that sense, I think you get one shot at this. I've known owners who now are married to someone they met at the gym. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but you get one shot. And it is more than just satisfying my lust. It is, I see potential with this person and I want to see where it goes. So I have no problem with an owner or coach potentially dating someone at the gym, but seeing how much they can make their rounds among the males or females in the gym is the most assured way to blow up a gym, to get it to close, to get it to shut down, to lose total trust and have a lot of drama. And I've known gyms where that has happened, unfortunately, and it's a tendency. Thank God I was married when we started our gym, Janelle and I, that she is integrally involved in that, and that you can see very quickly when you come to the gym that we like each other, that we enjoy each other's company. And so, but that's one that has been a big one I've seen at certain CrossFit gyms and is a danger. We're all human. All right, guys, number 4, members who have their spot in class or in the gym. Guys, I all know we all end up having our spot, and we have our favorite pull-up bar, and we like to go where we set our stuff up, and that's fine. We have all been newbies in a gym where you didn't know this was someone's spot. You didn't know that was someone's pull-up bar, or you've never done CrossFit. You have no idea how this works, and you're just trying to keep up and not be behind everybody and set up your box, and what do I do now? Just show grace on that, and I think we do a great job of showing grace on that, but I want to bring this to the front and center of everyone's mind because this is an easy habit to get into. And if someone takes your pull-up bar, you can easily ask them, hey, can we share? I like that one because it works with my height, or I like the grips on it. Can we share on that one? Or if someone set up their box in your area, it is totally fine if you go to a new area for this class. The coaches know as well that I have no tolerance for any kind of sense of ownership for the space. I don't do that as the owner. I will let others take the bar. I will let others take the spot. I will find the open spot, and that will work just fine for my workout. So just remember that we've all been there in that situation. As soon as one person does it, then 3 do it, then 10 do it, and suddenly you're walking on eggshells. You're walking through a minefield because, oh, sorry, I didn't know that was your area over there. And it's not your area, including it's not my area. In class, I have no more right than you do or anybody else does to that spot. If you want to share a bar, it's easy to ask politely if we do that. And I think we do a good job on that. I don't think we have a problem with it, but it's a very common thing I've seen happen in CrossFit gyms, and I want to nip that in the bud. All right, guys. So the last one for this episode, cliques that exclude others. And so what I want to say about this one is, guys, we all naturally end up with our close friendship group at the gym. The group we do stuff with outside of the gym, the people we go have drinks with or go to dinner with or go do other stuff with. And that's great. Just be very careful this doesn't end up like high school where there's the cool kids and the kind of cool kids and the losers over here. You never know when the next new person walking in the gym is going to end up being a lifelong friend for you. And so I think it is very easy to like and hard to dislike somebody once you know their story. So as a veteran, a regular at the gym, when you see new people walk in, get to know their story. Get to know them. You know who does a really good job at this is Daniel Diaz. Whenever we have new people at the gym, within a few classes, I'm going to see him by the weights or over by the front counter, talking to him, introducing himself, getting to know them. And I love seeing that. And he's not the only one. We have I think we have a very strong community that does this, that includes others. And I think of personally, it was, I don't know, a couple years ago now, but when Marco walked into the gym, he was in his police cop uniform, walked and introduced himself. I did not know at the time that Marco was going to become one of my best friends. And here we are a few years down the road, and my life is so much richer and so much better because he's in it. And it's because we got to know each other and we got to know each other's story. And I really liked Marco. I liked talking to him. I liked spending time with him. And that's a beautiful thing about this CrossFit community is you never know when the next person walking in could be someone very important in your life down the road. So while we all have our group, go out of your way to meet the new one. Go out of your way to get to know somebody you don't know that well at the gym because it's only going to make your life better. All right, guys. So that is the first 5 of the 10 pitfalls of a CrossFit community. There's some really juicy ones coming up next week. Maybe you can guess what they are if you want to put that in comments below. This weekend is the King William Fair by the gym. It is a madhouse on Saturday by the gym. So because of that, our weekend schedule is going to be a little bit less for classes. So check that out and Wattify. I may do the same on Friday. I'm going to see how it looks like attendance is for classes on Friday. Right on, guys.